Hey everyone, welcome to another Haze Reverb update video. And this week we have the collab for Chain Soldier, of course. This is the second running of it. With that, we have obviously the old units, rerun, and then we also have a new Transcendent unit, which is Ren, and we also have a SSR unit, which is Fubuki, which we'll talk about in a little bit later. But yeah, let's talk about Ren first. Now, you will get a free copy of Ren because she's the new Transcendent unit, and that will be after 7 days, right after maintenance. So from here on now, it's basically like it's going to be, I think, 5 or 6 days that you'll get the free copy of her. Then you can decide whether you want to pull for more if you want to like max her out or not. Now, I would say it's primarily the PvP players that will max her out, if at all. If you're a PvE player, I think you can skip skilling her up and wait for like a more PvE-centric character. It's a little funny here. I just noticed that actually they haven't changed this text. It's saying Ophelia. Funny enough, one of her abilities is kind of similar to Ophelia, but we'll go over that soon. Now, I haven't pulled any copies of her at the moment. I'm sort of waiting for the free copy, but I'll most likely will probably pull for extra copies of her because I think she's a very strong unit and I like her design as well. Okay, so what does she do? Now, she is, as I said, a PvP-centric character, and you'll see with how overloaded her kit is. Just keep in mind, though, that this is her rank 10 skills, and therefore she won't be this powerful at rank 0. But I will do a follow-up next week showing what she's like at rank 1 or rank 0, and we'll go over like what her kit looks like there in comparison to her maxed out kit, right? But for her, as a maxed out unit, she will do boosting, like self-boosting for attack. She'll also reduce attributes on the unit that she's attacking. This is quite good because it will strip armor, resistance and all that only for one turn, which means that it just basically applies to her own turn, right? It doesn't last long enough for your other units to get the benefit out of it, unlike other units that might do something like this. But she is like herself a damage dealer, right? And that means that she'll do pretty good damage against most units, because even if they're like max armor or anything like that, they're gonna lose half of that, and that's already pretty good, right? It's sort of, she kind of functions similarly to like a unit that might be on fixed damage, which doesn't necessarily care about a unit's damage reduction. But her damage might be like not as good as like a fixed damage unit, but I think still it probably will be like strong enough to kill most units. I think maybe not like super tanky guards, but yeah, anything else probably be work pretty well, especially those that are built on max armor, because they don't usually have that much HP. So if you're taking off like half their damage reduction, then I think she'll probably kill most of those units, right? But not only that, she will also dispel buffs on the target and silence them, right? So those are again very good PvP abilities, and that will help you kill off a lot of units. And even if they survive, then they've lost any buffs like Lena buff and all that. That will stop that. And then silence them so they can't do like special abilities, which is pretty good. Then she will also gain additional damage bonus at the start of every round, and that will last the whole round. And she will also get damage reduction, which is basically resistance. 40% damage reduction is pretty good, and you can combine that with Lena buff, and that will give her very good survivability. And then she will also silence the target with the lowest current HP at the start of the battle. This is only a one-off for 9 turns, but it's a bit of like a momentum boost. You potentially can stop something from doing a special ability. Depends, because 9 turns doesn't cover the whole first round. So if they're moving last, then the silence doesn't really do anything. But it's a nice little bonus to have. But I think the big one here is the Exile ability. Now, this is why I was saying that she's kind of similar to Ophelia. This ability will target the unit with the highest HP, similar to Ophelia, and then it will basically banish them to the Shadow Realm, right? Now, Ophelia is somewhat similar because they duel, and then that's sort of like they're having their own battle. They're kind of taken out of the battle, right? At least until their duel ends. This one, it doesn't duel them the same way Ophelia does, but it basically just makes it that you hard CC one unit for the entire of the first round, because this will last 18 turns, which is the number of turns in one round in a 9 vs 9, right? And then after the exile has finished, they'll come back at the end and move last, right? So this can take out like an auto taunter or something like that. I feel it's a little bit safer, or I would say it's much safer to run compared to an Ophelia, because like Transcendent Ophelia, she can kill a unit, and if she wins the duel, that's a pretty big bonus because she'll kill a unit, she's still alive, she can do a good amount of damage and probably take out another unit. But you have the risk of running into like heavy teams that might run normal Ilia, who will win the duel against Ophelia, right? Additionally, if they have like a HP based Belina, they'll draw in that case. Whereas Ren will just hard CC one unit for the first round. She'll probably kill something in her turn, and then you've gained the momentum after that. And then once the unit comes back, you should be ahead enough, right? And that unit coming back is probably going to be like a taunt unit because it's max or the highest HP, and then they won't really do much right at that point. Especially units like Shushu, who acts as an auto taunter. Now getting rid of that and it's just denying that one of their auto taunters at the start of the battle is quite good for momentum, especially if that's their only auto taunt, right? Then you have free reign against the rest of their team, basically, right? So that is how that exile works. And then now, if you think that is like already an overloaded kit, wait till you see the rest of it. Here we haven't even gone over her EX. Now her EX is a second life. Now you think of it like Farnese, where after she takes fatal damage, she'll regain her health back to 100%. Ren has this, and she will remove all status effects as well, back to 100% as well, right? I think Farnese does that too, but I don't think Farnese removes status effects from memory, but I haven't used it in a long time, so that's why I don't remember. But that's still a very powerful ability. So having a second life is already really strong. And then additionally, she will gain immunity to debuffs during this, right? And then she'll get this barrier which prevents 2 instances of damage. Normally these type of effects only prevent 1, but she has 2 on it, which is like pretty insane in my opinion. Then she also boosts the value of the status, like the stat reduction ability, right? Like this peak of life, this one, she'll increase that 2 times. So I think it increases to 100%, and then it lasts for 24 turns instead of 1, which is pretty big. I think that's how it works. At least that's how I read it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that sounds pretty strong to me. This sort of overlaps with this one. I don't know why they added this as well, because it's kind of like the same thing as I just described. But yeah, I'll have to see in practice like how she works. But that is a kit. As you can see, it's a very loaded kit, and quite a lot going on, and mostly a PvP character, I would say, right? Now, as I said, if you want to focus on PvP, then I think you want to have a Ren, probably maxed out, most likely. But yeah, that is her. And now, compared to Kyouka, Kyouka doesn't really do much, alright? And you don't get a free copy, so at most, just get 1 copy of Kyouka, and then if you're going to pull on a Transcendent unit, go for Ren. Okay, now let's look at the SSR driver, which is Fubuki Azuma. And I haven't actually watched season 2, so I don't know too much about her. I just know that she is Himari's mother, right? The whole Azuma family is like in the storyline, I believe. We have 2 of the sisters in season 1, and I assume that you get introduced to the rest of them in season 2. Yeah, I'll watch that when it comes out later. Oh, sorry, when it finishes airing. Now, for the banner, if you see here, there's 2 different types of currencies. Just to explain how it works, this one is your paid tickets, right? So if you go into here, it will direct you to the shop, and it has the collab elite tickets here, right? So this is the ones that you would buy to use on for this part. it's basically the same as running like changing to your elite tickets, right? So these are your standard yellow tickets, right? You convert them into or it basically uses them instead of like these ones, right? So it's the same thing, but it's just that you're allowed to use your yellow tickets, not your. Actually, I don't know if the common tickets work. I don't think it does, because I pulled. I'm not sure why you can see it here, but it does use the yellow ones. And if you don't have enough yellow ones, you use crystals instead, right? So this one is either yellow tickets or crystals, right? If you want to summon using this one, and then this one is the paid tickets. Now for her abilities, right? She is a guard DPS unit, and or actually maybe DPS is not the perfect way to describe her. I would actually describe her more as a bruiser type, but you'll see why in a second. Now she has a very large range, but this is a shorter range until rank 7. So at rank 7, she'll upgrade this to the full row, which is very powerful. Think of it like Swimsuit Suzu, who hits the whole row, and she's already quite powerful in my opinion. Fubuki does the same. I'm not sure whether that's going to be as powerful, but if she hits multiple units, she will actually get bonus damage. Basically, like it scales off the number of hit units that have been hit. And the multiplier is kind of low, unfortunately, but maybe with if you hit multiple units, like 3 units, maybe it's a good enough amount of damage, especially with an increase to her crit rate, which we'll see here in a second. But he'll also gain damage reduction, so that's resistance basically, right? 30% is not a lot, but I think it's decent to have that. And then she also deals fixed damage in the counter attack, right? Based off their max HP. So obviously that combines well with her reducing damage, and then her self buffs are based off her own stats, right, at the beginning of the battle. Now, what you'll need to do is not run any attack on her to get her below 1000 attack, and then she'll gain 100% crit chance, which is pretty good. You definitely don't want to be over 1000 because then you'll lose the or you basically just lose all crit chance, right? It goes down to 0. Sounds pretty bad to me to do that. Maybe if you just want to do like just flat damage, right? Then maybe you go over 1000, but it doesn't sound good to me, especially because the next ability here, it scales her attack based off her HP, right? So at 20,000 HP, she'll get 350 flat attack. That lasts for the whole battle, and then if it's above 25,000, then she'll gain 20% attack, right? So that's the 20%, so percentage attack, right? Which is not as good as a core, but it's still something, right? It gives her that. That's why I think she's more of a bruiser type. So she'll do decent damage, right, with her normal attacks, but then she's mostly like very tanky kind of unit. Then her EX is like she'll gain a lot more attack and crit damage for 36 turns, which is pretty significant. It's like 2 full rounds of like max units on both sides. In practice, that will probably be actually like more like 3 rounds because units will die off and then take up less turns. So that will last quite a long time. And that combines well with her, like, the idea of her being a counter-attack unit, right? So you want her to get attacked because she takes less damage, and she, like, reflects some damage back, and then she also gains, like, more damage if she's below 50%. So that is Fubuki. Now, I would say she's kind of like a secondary DPS, not really like a full DPS, like Harriet would be, right? So I think Harriet would be your main DPS in a typical guard comp now, right, with units that we have at the moment. Then Fubuki is sort of like a sub DPS with a bit of like tankiness. She can be like in the front lines to block off units, and then sitting next to your taunting units to like try to reflect damage back to them, right, or counter attack them. So yeah, that is how Fubuki works, and all her skills and all that. Also, she's a multi-attacker. I don't know how relevant that it will be for PvP, but she does do 4 attacks, right? I guess you could keep it in mind for any Crusade Red bosses where you need multi-hits. Like in terms of damage, you won't do very well against bosses. Maybe against dodge bosses, but you only hit one target, so this multiplier will be pretty low. But if you just need multi-hits, then she could do that for you if you're desperate, right? Alright, so that is Fubuki there. So now let's talk about the side story, right? Now, this side story is going to last for about a month, like just under a month. There's quite a few sections here, so I just want to go through it just so you know, like where to go for everything, right? Now, here, revisiting the past, this is the previous side story from last collab, I believe. And if you complete all these missions here, if you go into here, you'll get Alba for free, right? So this is the ticket for her. If you already have Alba, then you'll just get 20 tickets, I believe, right? Or basically, you get her 20 tickets, and then you convert that into the just generic ones. Unfortunately, if you missed out on her last time, you won't be able to get her max skills for free. So just get the one copy of her and for collection, and don't bother upgrading her. She's not worth upgrading in terms of skill ups. You also get the loading screen here, right? Which you can change in the settings, right? If you didn't get it before, so you just claim more and get that. Then over here, so world exploration is the current story stuff, right? So you have the story and then the battles, right? So complete both of these, of course, and then once you've done that, you'll go into evacuation strategy. This is the dailies. So the dailies, you need to do 5 trial stages, which I'll show you in a second, and then you'll want to buy 5 items from the shop. Pretty simple enough. Buy any 5 items, and you'll complete the daily for extra currency, right? Should do this every day. And then in achievements, once you've completed all the stories for the first chapter, you'll get this ticket for free, which is the old units from last time. Especially if you missed out last time, you want to do this first before doing any pulls, right? Because we did get the reruns, and the ones you want to chase here are Nei and Shushu. Hopefully, you get one of them from this ticket. It's a 50% chance, unfortunately. But yeah, get one of them, or hopefully get one of them. If not, then you'll have to pull for the ones that you're missing. Nei and Shushu, I highly recommend to get them if you care about Crusade Ray, which will be Nei, and if you care about PvP, you get Shushu. I mean, Shushu does have some applications in Crusade Red as well, but primarily she's a PvP unit. Other two, up to you if you want to get them for collection purposes. Tekka is okay for pushy like Munabiz. Limited use in PvP, but she does need a lot of skill ups. Probably not really worth the books in my opinion. But if you want them for collection, or you just maybe they're your waifus, then you do you. Then obviously next week or the week after, we'll get the rest of the story stuff, right? Because only the first couple are unlocked at the moment, as it always is with the side story events. Then when we get the next part to come out, we complete that. You will then get this other ticket here, which will be one of the next 2 units that will come out, right? So it will be Mira or Yakuma, right? You'll get one of them for free here, then you can pull for the other one if you want to get all of them, right? Which you probably should, just in case you need them later, right? With these like limited collabs, we never know when they will come back, if at all. Like it's generally not very common for them to be reran. All right, we're kind of lucky that Chain Soldier did get a season 2, and they decided to collab again, right? And yeah, unsure whether I don't think season 3 has been announced yet. Maybe once the whole season has been finished, maybe they'll announce it then. But for now, we don't know whether it's going to come back or not. So make sure you get the units while you still can, right? If possible. And then eradicate desire. This is the trial stages, right? And this is basically the boss stages that you normally have on the side stories. At the moment, only 2 available. And then the rest will unlock when the rest of the story gets unlocked. Most likely next week, and at the latest, I would say probably the week after. But yeah, you should use your excess stamina at the moment in here just to complete your or obviously you want to complete your daily, so you need at least 5 clears on that trial stage. But because there's not much else to really use your stamina on, I would just recommend using your stamina now on this side story and clear out as much of the shop as possible, right? Pretty much everything here is good. You can leave these cores, like these lower star cores, till last. Get everything else, right? You obviously will prioritize like books, tickets, even these lower rank books are still worth, and then obviously the cores as well. Then the rest, get in your own time, right? Or like get based off how much you farm after that. So anyway, that is it for this week. We've got quite a few things to talk about this week. I assume there'll be more units coming out. Unsure whether it's going to be like 1 or 2 banners next week. But yeah, we'll see when those come out. Anyway, that's it for me for this week. So thanks for watching. Hopefully that's helpful. I will do some follow-ups on the units that we have this week if I do some testing for those during the week, and I'll give you a bit more information once I know it. Either that will be a separate video on units, like talking about units specifically, or I'll just tack it on to the next update video. So anyway, that's it for this week. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.